Hello and welcome back to another Radio Bros tech tip for ServiceNow. And in this video, I would like to look at minimizing hard-coding values. And what I mean by hard-coded values is, based on this is looking at state field on an incident. If I was to type something like and then I may have a condition against that. That doesn't look nice, does it? And there is a way around that because we want to look at how things are usually done on the server side in the back end. And when I say back end is how we can write business rules or ACLs or anything else on that side which utilizes the incident state script include. And in this script include, you can see there is a way to reference this incident state object, this script include, and take on the values and use that somehow. So 7 is equal to close. I typed in 3, which is the same as saying on hold. But we want to be able to do this without having to use any specific values and utilize this. Now, there is something within ServiceNow that we can actually use already that gives us the first step of achieving this. There is a business rule, and I'm going to show it in another tab here. And in this business rule, it's taking incident state and incident reason and serializing that inside the scratch pad. Observe it's using JSON. This point will become very apparent later on when we do try to use the scratch pad. Let's jump over to the incident form. And in this case, we are referring to the state field over here. Now, I won't go ahead and create a new client script just yet. What I intend to do is let's be very lazy and bring up the browser developer tools and look at the console. So we have seen in that business rule, if we look inside the scratch pad, let me change the target of this to look at the form and then continue typing. Let's just run that for a second. And if we look here, we've got G scratchpad incident state is what I've executed. And there is a interestingly formatted string. So JSON is being used to take an object, serialize that to a string, and we're saving that in here. And if we want to decode that string into something that's usable in programming, we can by using json.parse. See, it's trying to show us something. So if I just click on run here, we now have a usable way of referring to that. Now, this business rule does exist inside the baseline product. So if I want to use this inside a client script, I would, of course, use a variable to store that just to minimize on how much typing that has to be done. And if I just rerun that, so I can take advantage of that state variable. And I can see things like active, awaiting evidence, awaiting problem, awaiting his info, and so on. So I could just run that, and I do get a value. So how does this help us? Now, if I wanted to use that condition again, which is to compare state against being on hold, and I want to do something with that, let's check this out. And then I want to do something when the state is on hold. what shall we do? Let's put an alert. Now I can run this now. Nothing will happen because if we look back at the state of this incident, it is still new. But let's run it anyway. So here goes. Let's go back down here. Click on run. Nothing happened because the state is not currently on hold. Let's go back into the form. And let's choose on hold. I won't set anything here yet. But let's come back down into this console. Click run. And there you go. We have now leveraged this scratchpad object to do a comparison against a state field without hard coding any value. Now this is very handy. We can use something like this. So the particular situation that I am going to try to solve now is, let's have a look at this. I will set this on hold state. I'll set it to something like monitoring and give it tomorrow's date. This is a custom field I do have here, so please don't let that fool you. I shall right click on it and you can see there's a U underscore. So if you are going to do something similar to this, just be aware. And I do have work notes as mandatory, so I'll just quickly type something in. Start testing. And let's save this record. Okay, so I do have an incident that's now on hold. And if I try to put it back to in progress, let's see what happens. And you'll see a particular scenario that I think should be fixed. Let's go back to this on hold value. I'm not changing anything yet, but you can see the date I have set is still there. Now the value for on hold reason is reset. So something like that should happen here as well. The case here is to create a client script that will check the state. If the new value of the state field is no longer on hold, I want to reset or remove the value of that on hold until field. So with a little bit of cheating, I'm going to copy my script, go back to my client script form, and let's paste it in. In this particular case, I don't really need to take this because the value of the state field will be provided by the old value and new value variables that's provided here. So let's change this to new value. And what I would like to do here is, if it's not on hold, I would like to set the value of my on hold until field So let's save that. Let's make sure. Yes, I can see what I've done wrong in my script. I am missing the U underscore. I did say it was a custom field. So let's address this by putting that field value back in. Let's save that. Let's go back to the incident form. Let's reload this form. Just get back to the original values. Let's try to put that on hold again. Let's set that to in progress. Now I'm curious, since this is a client script and I've set it to in progress, I wonder what would happen if I just chose on hold again. And the on hold until did get cleared out as per the client script. So it's quite useful. So just to make sure it did work, let's go in progress, save that record, and let's toggle the state field to on hold again, and we do have clear values. Now this is quite cool, isn't it? We were able to take that scratchpad object and utilize it to compare the value of the state field without having to code in any specific values ourselves. Just simply grab the scratchpad object, parse it back into a JSON object again. I stored it in a variable, and I'm using that variable to pull out the value that I'm interested in and compare that against the form value. And I think with this video, I'm done. Thank you very much. Catch you next time.